What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Nexus podcast. Today we are on episode 8, and we've got a big one today. Our very own Kieran took down the Grand Open in Liverpool. Round of applause, round of applause.
Thank you.
Sound effects will be added in for a big applause. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. How are you feeling after the big win?
Yeah, I mean, it's still not kind of it's still kind of surreal. The last two events weren't the best for me. We went X2 in the Pro Tour and the Utrecht Grand Open, but we finished in top 32. We actually finished second to last both times because of just bad tiebreakers. So a little bit salty and frustrated, losing out on a grand as well, just because tiebreakers are a thing. And I hadn't really tested this format a lot, really, to justify it. I was even thinking about not going to Liverpool in the end. I just didn't really want to. But I just kind of forced myself because the whole trip was booked already. So, no, it was really nice to have the event. I mean, we'll get into it soon, but the whole thing went perfect for me from top to bottom. So we're very excited. We have the mandala as well, the proof of top two.
Beauty.
It's a very beautiful card. The flavor text isn't special, by the way. It's the exact same as the X-Rare, which is a complaint, because the Tokawa had a very nice flavor text. I think the Seagram did as well. And while we're here,
maybe something's written on that Japanese text. Maybe that's the true.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Have to get it translated.
Have the winner playmat.
Beautiful.
Such a gorgeous playmat. So,
amazing.
Thankfully, my girlfriend went back to America because otherwise she would steal the playmat from me. To be completely honest. So yeah, but overall, it's very surreal and it's amazing.
Yeah, congratulations, man! What a result! And obviously, this podcast will be dedicated to talking about your win. But yeah, me and Harry were there also. So how are you doing, Harry? How are you feeling after the weekend?
Not bad. Yeah. I think that this one was one for the boys. Just have a fun time. I haven't really practiced much since the PT, to be honest. I think last week was my first time playing with set 3, and there was a lot of new things to consider, obviously. But no, I think Kieran's been putting in the hours since, or even before set 3 came out. Obviously went to the Utrecht GO as well after the PT, so definitely a deserved win. And I think that this event was kind of a good reminder for me that you can't just show up. But I wasn't really there to win. I was just there to have fun. I think we achieved that. How about you, Josh? How are you getting on?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have the best result of the weekend, but I know I had a good time. I just decided not to drop out. I just played through and just played with a smile on my face and had an enjoyable time. My teammate Andre did really well. He exceeded expectations, got up to top 4. So yeah, I was mainly there to support him, and he was sweet and gave me this as a little memento of his win. So thank you, Andre, for that. Maybe we'll get him on the podcast sometime, but he's a hard-working man, so he's often quite busy.
Well, and Andre topped while staying up till 4 a.m. the night before for a friend's wedding. Normally Andre is one of the most friendly, jovial guys, but
he honestly didn't even go to sleep. He actually picked his friend up at 4 a.m. and drove straight to Liverpool and played the tournament and tops. It was unreal. So massive congratulations.
We do have some rock stars in the EU metagame for sure, of which he is now one of the exalted crowd.
100%. But yeah, no, congrats to Andre and everyone that topped, and it was a good tournament. It was nice and fun. We were capped at 64 players. We reopened it for 2 extra boys, and it was a really good time. So it'll be the last tournament for a lot of us before Worlds, but obviously there is other tournaments going on, which we will discuss on the podcast. And Emmy, who's still in Japan, he will be back next week, and he'll be talking about his trip to Japan, and also he now needs to go to Pro Tour and get his Worlds invite. So we'll all be helping him, I'm sure, to meet that. But anyway, Kieran, let's talk about your full tournament. We're going to give you the stage now.
Sure.
And once you're done talking about the tournament, we will have a look at your list, and you can just explain the choices or explain how it played out for you.
Yeah.
But here we go.
Yeah. So, going into the event, I brought 2 decks with me. I brought red mid range with Dragno Kings, and I brought the Gale deck. Both lists, red's been my kind of go-to color for a lot of the events as well. It's a color I'm very familiar with. Gale, usually in card games, I really do enjoy playing these kind of decks that focus on ramping up and then just playing big dude and swing with big dude. That's been my playstyle for many different card games. From Zen and Zard to Hearthstone to literally any card game. If I can ramp, I'll probably try and play it. So I really just wanted to play Gale out of just passion, to be honest. I ordered. I actually was missing the Alaroon Forest Guardians, so I actually ordered 3 off of Big Orbit. I think Wednesday, the 3 because they had 3 SPRs up for sale, so I ordered those 3 SPRs, and I had to buy priority next day shipping. But clearly, it was worth it in the end to get the full arts of her. And yeah, we stuck with Gale in the end. We just thought, yeah, let's play Gale, and it did really well. I will say, going into this event, I think I probably had 9-10 games of testing with Gale, so not really a lot, but it was a deck I felt like was very fun, and I kind of wanted to play a fun deck personally for me. Yeah, round 1, I played against Howard Williams. He was on his kind of like purple-yellow core control, very, very spicy list. When I say yellow, I believe, just checking now, yeah, the only yellow card was really Hippocampo, but Hippocampo is not really a card I'm expecting to see in a kind of core control list. He also played the Earth Spider Demon, which is a card that catches people off guard pretty much any day of the week. You go second, you go first, you play down your 3-drop with 1 core, and then Earth Spider Demon comes down and just like gets insane value. I believe I went 2-0 in this matchup. He didn't really get set up. I think he kind of struggled to get set up. He played 6 Nexuses, but he didn't see a single Nexus both games, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember seeing a single one. And Highlands did Highlands things. The thing about Gale is sometimes you completely just high roll and steamroll the opponent, and sometimes you're just playing a normal game of Battle Spirits. That's the trade-off. I like the games where I high roll, obviously, and the games where I low roll. Doesn't really happen too often. So yeah, I beat Howard 2-0. We'll talk about him later. My biggest issue, as I said, was opponents. My opponents kind of just had really bad tiebreakers. I want to shout out Howard, by the way, because he lost to me round 1, and he proceeded to win his next 6 rounds in a row to make top 8. So congrats to him. Obviously, that's amazing, and obviously helps my tiebreakers. If you played me at the venue after every single round, regardless of win or loss, I literally begged you, please keep winning for tiebreakers, and I'll do the same. I was that frustrated with tiebreakers. Let's just make a gentleman's agreement to keep on winning. So yeah, that's all I could do. Just keep begging for tiebreakers. But yeah, congrats to him for going a 6-win streak into top 8 as well. Game 2, I played against Dan Brown. Really lovely person. By the way, everyone was really lovely. I didn't have a problem with anyone. Every single tournament, we all say the same thing. This community is amazing. Everyone's really nice, and this still holds true even today. I played against Dan Brown. He was playing Curse Aggro, which is a scary deck. The 4 Camelots, all the new Serpents with Curse. It's all there. It's all there. The new X-Rare Serpent, the one that lets you attack. Your Serpents can attack exhausted spirits as well. Very strong. Scary deck. I think game 1 he beat me. He just rushed me down to 1 really early, and I couldn't stabilize. And in game 2 he rushed me to 1, but this time I could stabilize. And in game 3 I blew him out with Highland stuff. Really good player. Really fun playing with him and just chatting with him as well. He did ask me before the round if I pulled, because we got our event participation pacts at the beginning. He asked me if I'd pulled an Oaken Pandal because he likes collecting dead dogs, he said, which was interesting as a comment. I said I did have one at the end. He was like, I've got this Dragno Trooper here. I'll trade you it. And I was like, sure. And he was like, by the way, I'm an Undertaker. And I was like, this is making more sense why you like collecting dead dogs and why you're probably playing the Undead Curse deck. So really lovely guy, very flavorful as well. Round 3 was our first loss. We played against Daniel Zeidenberg. If you're anywhere in the scene, you know who he is. He's been doing insane recently. He won the Utrecht Grand Open with Fabled Beasts, and he's been just topping a lot ever since. He actually went XO in Liverpool Swiss, so yep, I lost this matchup. I lost 2-1. Both games I lost a double heart, if that's just what happened. He swung. He had the one-off double heart in the main board. I knew they were running double heart in the main board, so I was trying to play around it. But sometimes, guess what? You can't. So fair play to him. He took the game 1-2, 2-1 to him. But again, that's if I'm going to lose early on, I'd rather lose to Dan because I know he's going to probably just go on to win his next million games, and then my tiebreaker goes up, and I care about tiebreakers in this tournament. And I will rant a lot about tiebreakers. So yep, my round 4 opponent was Andrea, I believe. Sorry. They were on white control, which is a matchup I'm not fully comfortable with, Gale, really, but a very interesting list, by the way. It was like white control with a splash of blue. They played the rock golems. They also mainboarded the seabed lighthouses, and they also mainboarded 4 strong draws for helping to dig. So they kind of were playing interesting lists. They didn't actually play any Norman cities, by the way. So white control of no Norman cities is very interesting. They played no copies of Aegis whatsoever. But they did play 2 Turbo Rexes. They played 2 Buffalong Bills. It was a really interesting list. And it takes a while to figure out what they're doing. I believe I think he may have won game 1, or I won game 1 and it was a 2-0. But regardless, it was very close, the match. It went into time, but we had actually finished the game before the whole time procedures took place. So we actually were able to resolve our game. His sideboard was really interesting. He sided in a copy of Rocket. He also mainboarded 3 Rocket Cities, 3 Lighthouse, and he sided in a 4th copy of Rocket City, obviously for the yellow matchup. He also sided 3 Godslaying for obvious reasons, 2 Floodstreams, 2 Ocean Knight Allegros. So he really wanted to do this whole white blue control. Really lovely player. Again, very nice and very tough matchup as well. My round 5 was against Zach Pridden, I believe, on Fabled Beasts. They were just a delight to play with. They were really nice, very friendly. We had a lot of banter back and forth. And maybe I'll send it to send it to you, Josh. But we actually took in game 2. It was such a blowout. I'll send you the screenshot of what the board state was. But by turn 4, I had a Feng 1, 2 Jaegers, and a Tokiwa all fully caught up, and double Highlands on turn 4. It was the most grossest board setup you're going to see, but that's what the deck does. As I said, sometimes you high roll into the nuts and you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and sometimes you're playing Battle Spirits, but your deck is still good. Yeah, they're playing Fabled Beast. Very cool list as well. Yeah, great player. They were actually main decking 2 copies of Lightning Arrow, which is very good, obviously, to stop the vanillas from being able to attempting to block. That's a very powerful thing Fabled Beast can do. They're playing the Genbus to counter the Genbus or vanillas, but guess what? Let's play the Lightning Arrows to stop the vanillas from even trying to block. Yeah, the game plan's perfect. Yeah, Fabled Beast to Fabled Beast, very scary matchup, but we managed to get there in the end and win, I believe, 2-0. Round 6 was against Thomas. Thomas and Alex, the 2 brothers, were playing the same kind of list. It was a very spicy rainbow smog K-pile. One-offs of all the elementals, 4 Beldegors, it was just a list. It was a very scary list with the Gale package. They were also playing, so they're playing 3 Feng Wangs, 1 of the purple Void Lord and 1 of the yellow Void Lord, and also a copy of Double Heart. And that's how I actually lost game 1. He swung with Feng Wang. Game 1, I was on 3 life. I was like, no flash, no blocks. Double Heart, he's Feng Wang. I take 3 damage. Game 2, sure. I died at 3 life. I guess maybe it's stay at 4 life nowadays. I don't know. Take no damage whatsoever, I guess, in Battle Spirits anymore. Yeah, so I lost game 1. Game 1 actually lasted, I think, 35 minutes. So going into game 2 with 25 minutes on the clock is a bit of pressure. I think game 2 was just a blowout game. I think I just opened the nuts, or it was a very close game and I won. I forgot which one was which, but I won game 2, and then game 3 happened. We actually went into time during, I think time was called just before we went to game 3. Like I think we had a few turns already. We were able to finish the game before time procedures took place. I just blew him out due to Highland stuff, I believe. He never really got his setup. He didn't really get anything established. The weakness of that kind of rainbow smart pile is that it does need a few turns of setup, and it does want to see its volcanic canyons or Nexus just really early on. If it doesn't see that, it's going to be a very, very rough time. That's just, again, the consequence of playing the list. I think they mulligan game 3 or whatnot. I'm not too sure, but very interesting list, and very good player as well. And in my last round, I played against Jara Pennington. He was on a red-green Gale pile. We were the people I was testing with, we actually kind of nearly came to the conclusion about playing red-green Gale, just because the reds to kind of help the yellow matchup, and then the green is just the Gale doing the Gale things. But yeah, this list was really good. It was playing 4 Dynaman, 3 Bearded Eagle. It was just playing all the annoying red cards. He had 4 Ritual Fires main deck. He also played 4 Starblast and 4 Charge Draw, so he was ready to kind of draw into his deck. One of the weaknesses of the pure Gale deck is its draw power is not very good. Its hand advantage is very low, so he's trying to fix that. Game 1, I believe he beat me. He beat me game 1. I don't remember the exact scenario, but he did. Game 2, oh, sorry, I remember now. Game 1, he had double Highlands out, and then for his turn, he draws with Volcanic Canyon. He pitches a Feng 1. Okay, why would you discard a Feng 1? Sure. He plays Feng 1. Okay, well, he probably had another one to play. Cool. He plays a second Feng 1, and he plays a third Feng 1, and I'm like, okay, this probably isn't my game if my opponent saw 4 Feng 1s and top like 20 cards of their deck. Game 2, I win. This matchup, by the way, is just who sees Highlands first and who high rolls first. That's the matchup. Game 2, I high roll, I win. Game 3, I think it came down to attacking with Feng 1. If he has one of the 3 Dream Bombs in his entire deck, he survives and wins. If he doesn't, I win. He had the Dream Bomb. He wins. Close game. GG. So that was Swiss. I was 5-2 in Swiss, which is a bit of a risky. I just have an X2 curse. I can't go any better than an X2 recently, for like months now. However, I was really comfortable because looking at the standings going into the round, my tiebreaker was the highest in the entire room. Big shout outs, as I said, to some of my opponents. So Howard ended up going 6-1. Dan went 7-0. Jara obviously went 6-1. Like, yeah, shout out to all my opponents who actually won their games. Very thank you much. And also, if you did play me and you lost, I'm not saying not thank you, but my tiebreakers would have liked it more. But yeah, I think our going into top 8. I'm pretty sure like my rate was, I have it here. Sorry, yeah. So my tiebreaker going into top cut was 71% opponent win rate, which is incredible. I was very comfortable. Also, big shout out to Kieran. He came with me as well to the event. He's actually one of the boys from the Play Nation Croydon locals. This was his 3rd event. He played Yellow Fabled Beast. He stayed with us, and he actually got top 8 as well. He squeezed in on tiebreakers. He went 5-2. So big shout out to him. That was his first ever top in any card game he's ever played. I know people who played against him, they had a delight playing against him. He's a lovely person. I just want to give him a shout out. He deserves it very, very much. Congrats to him. Like, people kind of get worked up when it comes to winning like these kind of prize money, like winning 7K, winning 20K, whatever. But for some people, just getting in as your first ever TCG top, like that in itself is like, it means so much, regardless of the money and whatnot. So big shout out to him as well. Going into top cut, it was a very, very diverse top cut. I don't have the on Eggman. They do have the top 16 cut, but top 8 was just very diverse. I think there was 2 Gales, pure Gale, me. There was the red green Gale. There was Fabled Beast. There was Luster. There was White Control. There was White Tempo. There was red mid range, and there was purple core control. So there was not one deck that was exactly like the other, which is, if that's not a good meta, I don't know what is. But I'll speak on the meta as well later. Going into top cut. I was playing against. I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm so sorry. I think it's Ava. I believe is her name. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Their name is C on the Discord. They also stream as well. Shout out to them. They were playing White Control. Her deck was really, really, really good. I was staring at her deck the night before. How do I beat this White Control deck? I'd given up at that point. Daniel and Kieran, who was staying in the same room as me, I was looking at the list like, I don't know how I beat this list. It was a really awesome list, by the way. So it was main decking Sheriff Eagles, which is a bit of a scary thing. It was main decking Elks as well. It was main decking. The most interesting thing I saw about that list is it only had 4 suppression, so I wasn't worried about any Infinity Shields or Cappy bots, for example, which is very good for me. But yeah, it's White Control. It's very scary. If they see the Norman City, they're gonna high roll you probably. And if I see my Highlands, I'm gonna high roll you as well. By the way, so they were also main decking 4 Burning Force as White Control, which is scary. But yeah, game 1, she beats me. I don't exactly fully remember the details of game 1, but I just get beaten. I think after that first game, I think that first game was 40 minutes long or 35 minutes long. So again, top 8 going into game 2, a game down, and 20 minutes on the clock, not the best. Game 2, I believe, was my I'm going to high roll you with Highlands kind of game. I believe that's what happened. Just Highlands took the wheel. There was a very important turn when they played the Sheriff Eagle. That card, by the way, is very scary. You can't destroy it in battle, and it has armor green as well. It does die to curse, however, so the Dragonagas that were in my deck, which we'll talk about as well, were very handy here. One important thing about Sheriff Eagle that I was able to do is I was able to pop the Sheriff Eagle with my Volcanic Break, because it's not got armor red, it's not got immunity destruction effects, and that was really crucial. In fact, I actually kept my Floodstream in my deck, which you wouldn't usually do against White Control, but just for Sheriff Eagle, because that card is a huge problem. And in game 3, they just don't see any setup. They don't get the Nexuses, they don't get what they need, and the rest is really history. I think I played Maduke down, and yeah, game 3 I played purple. If you want the honest truth, I think I played a turn 1 Dragonaga. I played a turn 2 Dragonaga. I think 2 turns later I played down a Maduke. So I was playing purple in that last game, and purple against white is good. Maduke Blood Curse, Maduke Curse, it's all good. So we were able to get the win in the end. Again, big shout out to them. Their list is amazing. They always come up with some very spicy lists if you pay attention to their lists, and I look forward to seeing them at Worlds. Day 2 was meant to start. They told us to get there for 9. We didn't start until like 10, 20, 10, 10. It was quite late, so we probably had a good like 40 minutes of just chatting to one another about the various card games that we used to play together. Well, not together, but like similar games we played. So we both played Buddy Fight, we both played Card Fight Vanguard. She was telling me about Netrunner as well. Really, just I love talking to people about card games and hearing how passionate they are as well. It's really, really interesting. And then top 4 was the big one. So I was either playing the winner of Dan, who went undefeated in Swiss, or the 8th place seeded person, Andre, who snuck in. I was playing one of those two, and I think Dan and Andre may have played in day 1. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I just put it up here. They did play day 1. I think Dan did 2-0 Andre in day 1, but Andre managed to get his revenge and actually 2-0 Dan back in Top Cut. So Andre was able to knock Dan out in Top Cut, and Andre was off to the semifinals as well. Yeah, the Exo Curse continued. Again. Yep. And Andre, so this also makes it more sweet because Andre is playing Tempo White, which is a deck that has gone through a lot of history. It started off with our good friend Harry building a white deck, and then our good friend Aaron Hadfield, the Hippocampo, stealing the deck and rebranding it into a kind of more white aggro. And then I came along.
Shout out to Aaron, by the way, because he on the podcast when he was on the other day, he actually said that Gale was going to win this event, and lo and behold,
Gale was going to win. And by the way, so I've been saying to my teammates and practice partners for literally the last 2 weeks that Gale will not win a single event. I think it's a good deck. I don't think it's a winning deck. And then they always said, well, why are you taking Gale? I don't think I'm going to win. So, yeah, but I guess I gaslit myself into a win potentially. That's how I see it, which isn't a bad way to do things either. But yeah, Andre playing tempo white. Yeah, so Harry made the deck, Aaron stole it, cut some of the cards, and then Aaron kind of worked on rebuilding the deck into his personal style, being a bit more aggressive and whatnot. And then I stole the deck from Aaron with a few changes for the Pro Tour, so we ended up playing the same 60. We both went X2 at the Pro Tour. Actually, sorry. Also, Andre played all this at the Pro Tour as well, but he put Elks in the sideboard. He loves Elk. He would die by Elk. Elk is in the sideboard nonstop for him. And I know Elk was really important for him at Liverpool as well. Yeah, so we had a great showing with Tempo White at the Pro Tour, and Andre did really well. I think he was XO in round 3, round 4. He played against Harry, I believe, in one of the other rounds. I forgot which round that was, but yeah. And then so the list was really good. Andre stuck with it at Liverpool, and he made a few changes. I know he played Dragonagas instead of a few other cards. He made a few smart adjustments, and he also was playing the new Valkyrie Hildra. So Andre was there. So yeah, top 4 was me and Andre, which is kind of friendly fire. But on the other side of the table was Jara and Connor. Those two were also testing buddies as well. So there was 2 friendly fires happening regardless. So top 4 was Tempo White versus Gale, and it was it was Luster versus, I believe, the red green Gale deck. So me and Andre played. There isn't enough words to describe how amazing of a person Andre is to play against and also just talk to in general. He's incredibly nice, very jokey. He's the kind of person you want to be playing against in that kind of scenario. If you ever get nervous, he will just throw away all those nerves for you. He's a pleasure to play against. And in game 1, like really, it didn't feel like we were top 4 of a Grand Open with a prize pool of like ridiculous monies. It just felt like we were playing a very casual local game, or casual, just friendly game.
Andre's the best. I love it. I love him so much. It's such a
there really isn't enough shout outs to give.
I mean, me and him started this game together actually. It's great to see him overachieve, because he a little bit about him, he actually plays like multiple card games. I think he plays like 8 or 9 card games, so he doesn't overcommit to any, but he's such a good player of card games in general that he can just overachieve massively like this. So yeah, shout out to him. I had a great weekend supporting him, honestly.
Yeah, and he's getting better and better with his results as well, which is even great to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I remember when I came up to him, I think he was like XO in round 4. He was doing really good, and I think I came up to him saying, "What are you playing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm just playing your deck, just with a few changes." I was like, "Oh, the tempo deck." So what was Hari's deck was now Aaron's deck and was now my deck. So the ownership of the deck has definitely gone very, very far. But
it's a boys chat production. There's no need for authorship. There's no J.K. Rowling out here. I think, Aaron definitely worked extremely hard to like iron out the sort of core foundation, and obviously Aaron played it at PT. Sorry, Andre played it at PT as well. You played it at PT, so yeah, it's just good to see the idea sort of growing and brewing into this great success.
It's definitely fun to tease about it all, though. Banter's good.
It's a fun.
We'll tease Aaron all day about it, but
again, Aaron was right, so we got to give him that props. And
true. He was also right about Phantasmal Paradise, but
yeah, I think we may have to get him back on the podcast. Maybe actually, I don't know about that. Maybe.
We'll get him to predict the Champions League as well while we're at it.
Yeah.
Easy betting money.
That'd be good for the wallet. So Kieran, how was your game with him? How was your game with Andre?
So I know the deck quite inside and out. Obviously, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, top 8 is open deck list, so we can just see card for card their decks, but we didn't really have to.
Andre would have shown you his deck if you wanted anyway. Like before the game, if you just asked, probably he's that kind of guy.
Well, actually, by the way, in round 5, when I asked him what he's playing, he said my deck, and he literally started to lay out his entire deck, card for card, in front of me, being like, "Yeah, this is the list." Yep, that's who Andre is. Andre is an amazing character. But yeah, game 1, He got me to 1 really early on. That's what the deck can do. I think he opened double Bullet Ray, very scary card, and I didn't have the Floodstream to punish him. I was only playing 1 off anyway, but sometimes you get lucky. I ended up dying to I think Derm or a Joker. I just couldn't stabilize after getting to 1. I think I was really close to stabilizing if I needed 1 more turn, but it wasn't happening. I think he also saw, I think he saw 4 copies of Beam Rifle in the top 12 cards of his deck, which is a pretty strong card offensively and defensively as well. So yep, he saw those 2 and I was like, okay, I lose this game. Game 2, obviously post sideboard, we do have a lot more anti-aggro. I think the scope house came in, the suppressions came in, which again you'll see on the list later. The Floodstream, the second copy of Floodstream came in, and obviously Andre sided his cards in as well. One thing that I was a bit cautious of is I know that list, I knew already because I put it in, I was the one who recommended it to Aaron, but that list had Godslaying in the sideboard. I knew that. And I know Godslaying, my big bird, my Feng Wang is going to get Godslaying. Thankfully, we knew that. We actually played around it. He attacked me, I think, game 2 of Valkyrie missed. I had a Jaeger and a Feng Wang. The obvious block was to block with Feng Wang. It had more power, I think, at this moment. I blocked with the Jaeger, and he got slaying it. So, yeah, we knew. We played that correctly there. Game 2, I was able to just win, Highlands being Highlands. Game 3, I think Andre mulliganed, maybe. Oh, that was game 2. It was very close, game 3. It came down to if he has Derm Diner or Joker, he's probably going to win on the clapback of my attacking turn. But he didn't have that, and also he died on my attacking turn. He just didn't. The play was really smart, by the way. So Andre was on 5 life remaining, and he had just a full field. No, sorry, he had 5 life remaining with 1 unit on the field that could be paid off to prevent my Feng Wang from surviving. So I thought to myself, what do I lose here to? Green Bomb and Beam Rifle, or Thorn Prism. So I actually fielded 6 units out on the field. I attacked with a 6-core Feng Wang. He paid Thorn Prism. He killed off his dude. So I tapped my 2 guys. So I had Feng Wang attacking. He takes 2 damage. So he goes to 3. I have exactly 3 attackers left, and that's exactly what I need to win. Just attack, 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 and I win. So that was the exact scenario I needed to do to get the win. One less spirit would have just not got it. And yeah, I don't think he had a Derm or Joker after he showed me, so I don't know if I was actually going to lose anyway the next turn, but still, it was something I was thinking about as well. So I managed to beat Andre. It was very insanely close, and congrats to him for getting his top 4 placement as well. Everyone's proud of him as well. And shout out to Kieran as well. Kieran did end up losing in top 8 to Jara, who he played. I think Jara beat him in Swiss, and it was a close game. I think it went to game 3, but unfortunately he wasn't able to get it over the line. So the finals was me against Connor, the Luster player. The Luster player ended up beating the Red-Green Gale deck. Seeing Luster in the finals, you're just like, what do you prep for? You didn't playtest against Luster. No one playtested against Luster, His list is insane. Very insane. His list is insane. He's an insane player, a very scary player. Thank God the finals is untimed, because I had to spend so much time just thinking, like, when you're seeing a list playing, the one-off double heart with Michaela and Thorn Prisons, and what do you do? Game 1 in the finals was very just one-sided, to be honest. I think he had a Phantasmal Paradise into another Paradise, I think, in his first 3 turns. He just didn't see a Fable Beast for like the next 2 turns after that, so that advantage engine just wasn't there. In the meantime, while he was struggling to draw a Fable Beast, I was doing Highland shenanigans, and I was ramping cores, and I was just blowing ahead of the pace. So I was able to just kind of blow him out. Game 1 wasn't really close at all. Highlands be Highlands. He was also main decking 2 Burning Force, and I knew in the sideboard was 3 Pharaoh Slash, so that was going to come in. And I also knew there was 1 copy of Godslaying coming in as well, which was something to really think about. And obviously, he had 2 copies of Dream Bomb, siding in the 3rd Dream Bomb for Feng Wang, of course, as well. Game 2 was one of the peak games of Battle Spirits, in my opinion. I was playing very passively because I just wasn't very comfortable with my board state. And I knew, Luster's main thing now is they play the Flagellum, the new angel, the Judgment Angel, and they combo it with Exhaust Nexus because it turns your Exhaust Nexuses into -5k per copy of Exhaust Nexus, which is a magic number.
It also stacks
It's
as
really
well.
good, yeah.
So like, if
Yeah.
there's two
Yeah.
angels on the field, it will go to 7. So insane.
Yeah,
I faced 2 of it on the day, and it's just like it's really difficult to clear. Being a 6 cost, it can get out of volcanic break range. You can't flood stream it. You can only really dream bomb it, and it's like you only have
8k
so
on
many
4
dream
cores
bombs.
is pretty good for a Luster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
just
lie.
makes all your exhaust nexuses legit AoEs rather than having to hard draw your exhaust nexuses. So yeah, Flagellum was a really good tech this weekend.
I think
I had 2
game
in my
one
deck as well. To be honest,
so good.
it's like it's impossible to ignore that added bonus on Exhaust Nexus, and yeah, it proved very effective. Great card.
Yeah, I think game one he played it down. He didn't have enough cores for level 3, and I was able to just volcanic break it. One-offs are very fun, basically. Yeah, I hate limits to 1, but they exist. I would say volcanic break is being used more now after the limit to 1 than it was while it was at 4. And it just sucks because when you get one-offed, it feels bad. I know Kieran got one-offed as well. That's how he lost his top 8, I believe. But yeah, game 2 was just... I lost game 2, but game 2 for me was one of the peak games of Battle Spirits where you really got to see 2 high-level players going back at it, very back and forth. There was there was a turn where he had... so I'm just putting it up here just so I can actually read it. Someone actually summarized it for me here. But yeah, in game 2, I was stalling so much because I just wasn't comfortable attacking. So Connor was able to set up the Judgment Angel at level 3, a Ryute at level 2, and a Michaela at level 2. So he had the God set up. I had 2 Feng Wongs on my board, and I was like, all right, well, if he has triple Exhaust Nexus, both my Feng Wongs are dying. He attacked with the Judgment Angel. He played Exhaust Nexus, and then now, at this point, you know what's coming. You know what? That's one Exhaust Nexus. The other 2 are probably coming down. I flashed in my Scope Owl at this exact moment because he played the second Exhaust Nexus, which killed my Scope Owl. My Scope Owl forced him to exhaust a unit. I had the Emerald Sanctuary on my field at 1 core, and the Emerald Sanctuary is whenever a spirit gets exhausted during the attack step by an effect, you choose one of your cards and gives it 2k. So my Scope Owl died. I was able to give one of my Feng Wongs 2k, so my Feng Wong was 17k now, so it wouldn't die to triple exhaust Nexus. And he after the first exhaust Nexus, I played Scope Owl. And then after he played the second one, I actually played Thorn Prism to tap his other 2 dudes, and then give my other Feng One 2k to dodge the third Exhaust Nexus, and it worked. He played the third Exhaust Nexus, but it couldn't kill anything. My Feng Wongs were on 2k exactly because of a double exhaust play with the Emerald Sanctuary. Again, I did go on to lose that match in the end, but like the high level plays were just so obvious from both of us in that game. I think that's probably like peak Battle Spirits if you want to see it. And yeah, Emerald Sanctuary has another effect besides just being a cheap cost reduction, if that's not a good example. Game 3 was a lot faster pace of a game. I think the game was over in like 6-7 turns. It was very fast pace. I had my Highlands stuff. Highlands didn't stick for me. I think I got to ramp 2 or 4 cores from it, but it just died the next turn after. He was able to ramp into his Michaela on level 2 very early on, and he hit some absolute banger cards. I think he hit a double heart, which was just very scary to see. There was a turn where he had the Judgment Angel again, and he attacked, and he was able to he had triple exhaust Nexus and the Judgment Angel with a Michaela at level 2 in game 3. It nuked my Feng 1. I was pretty sure the game was coming to an end at this point, so I actually had to play. I had to hard play Feng 1 from my hand. I had 16 cores with 1 reduction, so I had to pay 9 cores for Feng 1. I just put 4 cores on it, 6 cores on it, and was like, okay, I'm going to attack here. If you don't have Ice Shield or Dream Bomb, I'm going to win. If you do, there was a play, and I actually looked at this. I was a bit worried about him playing the double heart from hand and paying off his board to stop my Feng One from restanding. Because that would obviously, because Feng One can only restand if it bounces some better hand. And Michaela says you may pay cards for free, not you have to. So you can still pay off your cards to do that play. I attacked with Feng One. I don't think he saw the play immediately because he took the damage and he scoops the game. And then I think after that he was looking at the board thinking that knowing he probably could survive another turn, but he wasn't as comfortable knowing that he would actually be able to win the game if he'd sacked off his own board or not. And that's how we got the win. So we got a win by playing Feng One and just praying. Feng Wang in a dream was exactly how we got the win. And yeah, so that actually kind of wraps up the tournament report. The finals was 2-1. Congrats, by the way. In the finals, there was Luster and Gale, and that was both colors and both decks' first ever final. So it's good.
Awesome. So yeah, congratulations again, and thank you for the great in-depth report. We're gonna go into your deck list now. We're gonna have to go through this at a fairly fast rate. So yeah, let's talk about your deck list. Just let me know what cards you want to talk about, and I will make them the focus on the screen.
Yeah, so this list is card for card the Pasadena Gale list that got top 8 and EXO and Swiss. When we were looking at Gale list, I was watching the live stream from Pasadena. I don't remember your last name, but Tyler, I know is your first name. This list was just like, wow, this was a very nicely well-built list. From everything from the 4 copies of Porcupine to stop the Gembus to the Dragonagas, just kind of giving you a much better early game as Gale. Yeah, the list was really built card for card very well. There was a few things that we were looking to possibly change about the deck, but we didn't have enough time and proven testing to really justify it. I think the main board is very good. I think that the Dragonaga slot really depends on what the meta currently is, and it just helps you against White Control, which is one of your more worst matchups. The Emerald Sanctuary is goated. The 10-card Gale package is goated. The Forest Guardian put in so much work. If you're playing this deck, I don't think if you're playing pure Gale, pure Green Gale, you can't play it without playing the Forest Guardian. She's just too good. And yeah, the rest of the deck was really, really good as well. Strong Draw was really the card of the day where I loved it and hated it. There were times where I was like, this card sucks, I'm going to sideboard it out. I don't want to pay 3 costs to just do nothing. And there were some games where it won me the game because I was able to draw 3 cards deeper into my deck. And by the way, that 3k BP power increase from Strong Draw actually does come up. It's very relevant. It's actually very overtuned, I would say. Most BP powers on a draw spell are 2k, like Charge Draw, not 3k. So 3k, very relevant. Yeah, the list was really good. List played really, really well. As well. The sideboard is definitely where a few changes would have been made, I think. I think the scope outs were really good, but I basically barely got to use them the whole day. But I think you need them, otherwise you die to aggro. The 2 Madukes, MVP. Maduke was really good. I barely ever resolved her, but when I did resolve it was absolutely game-defining. And because you're playing this Dragonaga in your main deck, it means that sometimes you will get the Maduke and you can Blood Curse the Dragonaga against Control White and such. Yep, really good card. We played 2 copies of Feral Slash in the sideboard. I'd probably want to bump this up or even put some in the main board. I think Nexus Destruction is so crazy. I have a massive issue with this game. Though my only complaint with the meta is how the game is basically just Battle Spirits Nexus Saga. That's what I call it now. Nexuses are pretty much 90% of a deck's power level, which is fine, but then it does make it so if you don't pop the Nexuses, you just get high rolled. Like game 2 against Jara in the finals, he went turn 1 Paradise. I played Feral Slash. Turn 2 he plays Paradise. Turn 3 he plays Paradise. I guess I get outplayed. He opened with 3 Paradise, and I opened with only 1 Nexus Destruction.
Do you think Hurricane Highlands needs banning then? Do you think it's too overtuned?
No. No. If you ban Highlands, green doesn't exist. I'll just say it very brutally.
Ban Paradise first, did it? Highlands is fine.
You can probably make an errata to Highlands to make it not to make it once per turn. I think that's the most common suggestion. But if you hit Highlands, you probably need to hit other Nexuses with it as well. Like Paradise is a very, again, high rolling Nexus. Even Norman City is a very high roll Nexus as well. Don't forget, if you go second, you play Norman City, you can play Elephant turn 2.
So you said this is card for card. How did you feel about running 3 Thorn Prisons in a green deck? Because like a lot of people will run it 4 off color, so it's like just interesting to how you felt about that choice of 3 instead of 4.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that when I saw the list originally, I was a bit like, does this make sense? But then after doing some testing, the only person I really tested it against was R2. Anyone who knows the European scene knows who R2 is. Amazing track record in any tournament he takes part in. I think I played 10 games with R2, and that's all the testing I did with this deck. But after testing with him, I kind of knew that, like, okay, the 3 Thorn Prison makes sense. Like, 4 is nice, but you also want room for your other cards, like the one off Floodstream really came up sometimes, and the one of Volcanic Break. Like, that's probably what the 4th Thorn Prison would have been, but I think those cards just prove themselves way too much.
Volcanic Break seems like a card that needs to be in every deck, I think, at this point.
It does at this point, and I think that kind of says a lot about limiting it to 1, potentially.
It's almost more valuable. We've said that before, but it's almost more valuable now. It's limited to 1, so...
Yeah, I think Hari called it very well. I think after the ban, he said that he wouldn't be surprised if Volcanic Break was used in more lists now after the limit to 1, and if it was when it was at 4, and that's what's happened now, hasn't it? But yeah, the list is really good. Like I said, Gale is a very flexible deck. You have a 20 card, maybe like 14 card package of just Gale cards. The other 36, whatever you want. Maybe you can cut one Strong Draw for the 4th Thorn Prison. Strong Draw is always a weird card. Or, yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the list. It was a really good list. I'd make a few changes, probably walking away from it, but it did the job on the day.
Well, congratulations again, champ, and we're very proud of you. And yeah, you know, it's definitely gives us some extra credibility having you know, all these tops and high results and champs. So
we're constantly pushing in it. It's you top 16 PT, then I top 4 PT, every second Glasgow. Now you win 1.
Well, it's my turn now, so I'm gonna win Worlds. All right, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, Worlds is next.
As long as you guys don't get in my way, that's for sure. But yeah, so we'll have a quick look at Harry's
I have a
deck.
quick question for,
go on. Yeah,
Kieran, just before we move on to mine.
Of course,
so thinking on the spells, so we'll see when we get to my list, but we were thinking a lot about things like Floodstream and Dream Bomb, and they're kind of essential in ways at the moment, particularly with Fable Beast and Gembu. Like, you need a sufficient number of ways to out things. We saw a lot that warranted the Dream Bomb, really. I think your Highlands list would speak to that as well, where Dream Bomb is often the only viable response that someone can have to a Foing Hang. There was a lot of Nova presence as well, Dream Bomb outing the Nova. It seems like the formats have this sort of cyclicism where at the start of a new set, Dream Bomb will kind of fall out of favor and then come back in. I just wanted to ask on your list, as obviously it was, I guess, initially drawn from a template of a different deck that topped, and you've used it. I guess, would you now see some spells differently in terms of their how essential they are? Like something like Thorn Prison is in color, but did you find yourself wanting more copies of things like Floodstream and Dream Bomb, or did it kind of all pan out how it was meant to?
Yeah, so one thing that I did walk away with this event kind of thinking was, I really wish I had Seabed in my side, Sunken Seabed.
That card screwed me in the game, I'm not going to lie. That card is wild. If you don't have an answer for it, you're in trouble.
The white-blue deck that I played against in round 4 actually had main decked the Seabeds, and that proved a bit of a problem. Ultimately, that was the card I was like, okay, I wish I had this somewhere in my side deck just for... I wouldn't play it preemptively.
What was the problem with it? Just out of curiosity, because obviously you're running a little bit of off-color magic, but what was the main card that it was stopping you from utilizing?
The 2 cards would be the from hand Ice Shield, which you do need to do sometimes against Elk. Sometimes against Elk versus Derm, they burn you. You have to play the Ice Shield from your burst, and then the only way you stay alive is if you flash the Ice Shield from your hand against Derm. So it stops that. The other one that really came up was I couldn't Dream Bomb the elephants. He didn't play Enterprise in the main deck, so Dream Bomb's really strong, but obviously I can't play Dream Bomb anymore. The biggest one, funny enough, I attacked with Maduke. He blocked. I played Strong Draw to buff his guy up, and we quickly realized I couldn't do that because he had the seabed up. So we took it all back, and it was all fine. There was nothing wrong with that. But that was a play I was trying to do, but then obviously I couldn't because of seabed.
Denied.
Basically, and obviously with Gale's one of the best spells against Gale is Dream Bomb, so it makes sense to have seabed somewhere, I think, in the list now. But I would say you wouldn't just play seabed preemptively. You would actually save seabed until you're going to go for your push turn, and then go for it.
And then cut them off.
Yep.
When applicable. I mean, that's there's a similar card in Dragon Ball which you do that, where you play it on your kill turn, and it basically makes them tap an extra energy every time they use a magic spell.
Yeah,
equivalent.
Exactly
which
like
is
that. Yeah,
rough. You know, that's like, oh god, I've planned to keep myself alive, and now I definitely cannot. So
and also with if you play seabed, it does make your strong draws cost 1 less, and it will make your flood streams cost 1 less. Flood stream I wasn't that impressed with over the weekend. Regarding spells, it didn't really perform that high, but I think it's a necessary evil. You just have to have 1 in the main or 2 in the main and just summon your side.
The best combo to kill with that I found was Dino Man and Camellia Whip.
Yeah,
getting rid of those two in one spell just felt really, really powerful.
I never actually got a 2-for-1 all day on it, so it didn't really stand out to me. When I played against Red in round 5, I never actually got Flood Stream at the right time, so yep. But yeah, to answer your question, Harry, I think I would probably bump the Dream Bomb up if I could in hindsight, because I knew to myself White Control was going to be played at the event, and Dream Bomb is quite good against them right now because White Control players are kind of siding the Enterprise or not playing it at all anymore, because it's not very good against blue or green armor in theory. But yeah, I would definitely increase the Dream Bombs in hindsight, and maybe, I don't know if I'd cut Flood Stream. It's a weird one.
All right, so yeah, congratulations again. We're gonna have a little look at Harry's list. I was playing, just so you guys know, I was playing a pretty standard sort of hybrid list between Luster and Fabled Beast. And my first 3 rounds were against Red, so that was just rough as anything. But yeah, no, I pulled it back in the end. Like I said, so I had a good time. But we don't need to see my list. But we will have a look at Harry's because it is spicy as expected. So yeah, take us through your choices, Harry.
Yeah, it was a fun deck. So I was going with a couple teammates. Shout out Jamie and Willie. Jamie also got top 32 this weekend. I think it's his best result so far. And
well done, Jamie, the
amazing
Soul Core.
to see him. Yeah, Mr. Soul Core himself.
Bouncing
if any
back.
of you played against me at a tournament, you'll know. Also watch the stream, you'll know what I mean. It's the infamous Mr. Nova Soul Core himself. Yeah, he played Star Dragons. He's played Red most of his career. So I just built him like a very basic Star Dragons list. I don't think there was anything too rizzy about it. It was just kind of a standard one. But a standard Nova list is pretty well situated in the current meta, I think, with a lot of Fable Beast presence. It's really good in the Red Mirror as well, because they'll structure themselves around Apollo Dinos and stuff like that quite a lot. Dragno King. You're mostly able to kill through with Nova, and really, unless people are running Dream Bomb, it puts you in a really good stead. So, yeah, Jamie did very well. And then in terms of what Willie was playing, I wasn't sure again. I hadn't really tested set 3, so we come into it this week, and I gave Tinny Turbo a go. My PT deck, as it now has Costume Artist in it.
That's Tin
Quickly
Soldiers
found out.
For those that don't know the Tinny abbreviation.
The Tin Soldier's purple, and with Costume Artist now, and I quickly just found that it was like, the ceiling for this deck is way higher than it was before, and I had no clue how to play it before, let alone now that Costume Artist is out. So I thought best not give myself an aneurysm from trying to figure it out a couple days. That would be like if I were going to the PT maybe, but I don't think I am. So yeah, Willie just had the idea, like he played Highlands for a bit. And then I think he saw, I don't know if it was Pasadena or Australia, but like Nick Killing's list, I think, the sort of Penta Smag, ramp green into Black Lance and Infernal Bacillus and Nomen Guards Turbo Rex. We thought that we would try out that structure as with Highlands. Like I do plan to test with Highlands a lot more. Obviously, it's a deck that has sort of the highest ceiling probably in terms of obviously what you can achieve. We saw a bit of that with like Enoch and Ayumu's list, where it's just like infinite mana, infinite spirit recursion, stuff like that. And again, it was a bit too rich for my blood to try to figure it all out a couple of days before the event. So we thought that we'd just approach it with like a nice, simple ramp green package and just chuck some fun boys on top. The Nova came in ready just to remediate the Fable Beast matchup, as the Fable Beast matchup was really, really bad, we found in the testing when we were using other top ends. So we thought we'd just chuck a couple Nova in and see how it worked. So in terms of the day overall, I did play against 3 yellow. I think I had a similar day to you, Josh, just in terms of playing against your bad matchup 3 times. I won 1 and lost 2. The first one I lost to was again Kieran's mate Kieran. Really nice guy. Even like, cause obviously this was round 2. Like I didn't know he was gonna top, but again, just a really friendly dude. Was a great opponent. Had a lot of fun. Even though I was getting patted down the whole game, I was still having a lot of fun. So yeah, made sure to get his number and add him to the group chat, and then he ended up going on to get top 8. So again, a great achievement for him.
Yeah, well done to him. We'll have to get him on at some point.
I also lost to the mythical Michaela double heart combo 1 game, which made me very, very sad.
Brutal.
Not sad because I lost to it, but sad because I played that game so well. I was winning the Ice Shield race and then just get clotted by the double heart because I ran out of Dream Bombs. But
I was actually running double heart in my yellow build as well, and I won a few games of it. I was ranting about it last week about how overtuned the card is, and yeah, it's super fun to play, and it's like Alex Blandon was saying, it's like I'm going to ask you if you can deal with double heart, and if you flinch, I'm going to play it immediately. And yeah, no, it's just kind of that. Do you have an answer? If you don't, I win. And both times I smacked it down, got me the win. Funnily enough, both times the players were auto popping their eye shield before the flash step went through, and I was like, double heart, and both times they're just like, oh. So yeah, be careful, guys. Always ask for flash in that situation, because if you go and pop your eye shield preemptively, and your opponent has double heart in hand, they know that they can just kill you immediately. So yeah, just be careful with your plays, guys. But yeah, no. So what was the spice in the deck then? What were your MVP top 3 cards? Because this is quite the pile.
Yeah, well, I think I guess in terms of the deck's strengths, that early game ramp component is very consistent, very cogent, and in those first few turns, you do tick ahead in basically every matchup against except Fable Beast, because against Fable Beasts, if they get the Paradise set up early and they're swinging with the blessed creatures, it's very difficult for you to keep up. But if they have a more balanced opening where, maybe they open Cathedral instead of Paradise or something, and they're forced to slow down a bit, against everything, really, just being able to ramp so consistently really puts you very far ahead. And obviously Smag is a really cool card. You get to draw a lot off it in here. So that sort of early game package is incredibly stable, I think. And then building upon that into the top end, I think an obvious flaw of the deck was that the top end was stretched a bit too far. I will say, in case the list looks a bit weird, a lot of choices were just to run shiny versions of cards I liked. Like I had the 2 Pro Tour Dragno King and the 2 Pro Tour Aegis, and I was like, I want to run them. And yeah, but to that end, you try new things. The Dragno King was actually really good. The Aegis was a bit hit and miss. I think in hindsight, I'd have the Aegis as a side option, but like Nova was really good as well. I think 2 was probably the perfect amount for it. Andromeda was really good. I think again in hindsight, I'd probably just cut the Black Lancers and up the red stuff a bit more. But yeah, it felt like a good deck. Probably a bit fair, probably a bit too unspecialized for the current meta, but yeah, against everything that wasn't yellow or like, because the format is quite high rolly. So obviously, if you play against like a Highlands and they they high roll the Highlands, or you're playing against Fable Beast, and they high roll the Paradise. You can lose in those situations, but just being able to treat 8 drops as your mid game was a very educational experience. I think we learned a lot. In the side as well, the Rocket City was really good, it must be said. The Maduke was great as well. But yeah, just one Rocket City shutting down all of the yellow Paradise craziness is very impactful. So yeah, lots of things learned from the list.
All right, well, thank you very much, Harry. Your lists are always really interesting, and you did steal cash, so congratulations on taking home some money, albeit
32. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, some people would be very happy with that result, but anyway, we move. So that's pretty much it for all of that discussion. It was the event was not just a Battle Spirits tournament, it was a TCG Expo, which was run by OPE, and it was great. It was a huge event. In reality, there was a massive One Piece event with about 600 to 700 players, huge Digimon event, and then events for all sorts of card games like Dragon Ball. Had an Elite 16 player event where my friend David from my locals actually took it down. The European champion was in that 16 players, so it was a great field. There was also Lorcana, I believe, and Pokemon. A great thing that I experienced was they were doing demos for a new Star Wars game coming out, which Star Wars Unlimited, which is a card game that I've been really interested in since they announced it. Me and Andre went and had a game, and yeah, it's basically like, in a nutshell, it's different to normal card games because it's turn-based. So you do one action, your opponent does an action, you do an action, your opponent does an action, and then once you can't do any more actions for that turn, you reset the turn, draw 2 cards, and yeah, you repeat the process. There's land and space battles, and you have a leader, and you're basically doing damage to a base. But yeah, so really great game, very interactive. I actually got some awesome promos, which I'm just going to show you. These are like the demo kind of arts. Vader and Luke Skywalker leaders, and then on the back they're flippable cards, and they've got this little nice event exclusive stamp on them. The staff were really nice that kind of did the promos, they taught us how to play the game, and it's just really good. So it's something that I'll probably be interested in looking into when it comes out. Did you guys experience any of the day other than just playing the tournaments? Because it was, obviously, Kieran, you were quite busy the whole time with Top Cut and stuff. Did you guys enjoy the day?
I think, yeah, there was one nice moment, which was like I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Like 10, 15 years ago or something. It was a long time. And as soon as we walk into the exhibition center, we just hear someone go, "Oh, Harry, Willie, Harry." We turn around, and it's a really old friend from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Days. Quite well known. He had the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel in the UK back in day. It was I Pokemon I. So our friend Suraj, he was running his own little store. So literally, I don't think I've seen him for like 10 years, and I think that's obviously in Battle Spirits we make a lot of new friends, but you do rekindle with some old ones sometimes as well. So yeah, that was really nice getting to see him and buy some last minute dragon shields off him for the tournament. But yeah, that was probably my highlight. I didn't look around the card stuff too much, but yeah, that was really sweet.
Yeah, to be honest, it was a last minute thing for me to go do the Star Wars event. I actually forgot about it, but Andre was like, let's go get some let's go experience this game. So what about you, Kieran? Obviously you I'm sure you were out celebrating in the town, drinking the bubbly.
Yeah. So yeah, day one, obviously not getting no time to explore anything. Day two, as you said, I was so busy I'd never got time to say anything. However, so we after the finals were done, we actually decided to go for some lunch And it was just a group of us, so the Croydon Battle Spirits gang, and some of the One Piece players, Krishif and his friends, Ibro Academy, his YouTube channel is. And we went and got some lunch. I spoke to one of the judges about when I can come back and get my prizing. They said that just come back whenever. I was like, cool, I'm gonna go for some lunch. So we went off to Pizza Express. I think it was like a 5-minute walk or whatever. It was very close. And I got a message from Adam just asking me to come back and get my prizing. I was like, sure. I went back, I collected my prizing, and I actually bumped into a very old friend. It's very similar to Hari's kind of story. One of the judges, his name is Scott. We actually played Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, probably like, I want to say 10, 11 years ago. We actually kind of like, he learned Yu-Gi-Oh from me, but like we played Yu-Gi-Oh together. We actually learned the game like that. And we just kind of lost contact for like 10, 11 years. And he was just judging the event, and he saw me, came up to me. He was just like, wow, that really is you. And I was like, yeah. And we kind of just talked and caught up for a bit. Yeah. And it was just really nice meeting him again and seeing him again and talking. Obviously, congratulating me for the win. So yeah, I guess we both got to meet long-time friends from the TCG Expo at Liverpool. But besides that, I did not unfortunately get any chance. But I will say, while I was eating dinner, everyone who did get to try the Star Wars Unlimited game were non-stop talking about that game as well.
Ah, well, there you go. I mean, I was definitely having a lot of fun with it. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. And yeah, it's just something that I want to probably try casually. Disney really breaking into the market with their franchises for TCG, you know, with Lorcana and now this. So, you know, fingers crossed. I got high hopes for it, and
they just need a Disney Plus cartoon that's like Yu-Gi-Oh in the Star Wars universe. And that's it. I mean, that's a whole generation hooked on the crack of card games, like the Yu-Gi-Oh players are.
It's true. Maybe they'll create their own franchise where it's like Mickey playing cards, taking down Yu-Gi-Oh, and they'll buy Konami so that they can have Mickey beat Yu-Gi-Oh in a card game. But yeah, so that's about it for the day. We'll do our question on the round. I believe Harry's got a question, and you guys for the question time on the round as well, guys. Please answer it in the comments. We're almost at 100 subscribers, and I think we're like 10 away, guys. So tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your cat and dog to subscribe to us.
And just before we get into the question, it was like I got quite a lot of comments saying, you know, hi, are you Kieran from the podcast and stuff. So it was really nice meeting all of you who came up to us and supported us. Some people even stayed to the very end on Game 2 and just congratulated me. Like, it was very nice meeting you.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kieran, do you want to do a quickly? I'm sure you've got a list of people to shout out. Just do a quick list of shout outs before we do the question time on the round, and then
I mean,
obviously.
Yep. I mean, I have to like literally there's so many people to shout out, but really like off the top of my head, well, number one, Tyler, right, for the Gale Shell that he piloted to EXO in Swiss and lost in top 8. Yeah, that list is amazing and perfect. Obviously, that's been the number one shout out, obviously. Obviously, all the boys, especially on the Nexus podcast. You know, I did go through a bit of a phase where I was just going X and 2, and I was getting really low because my tiebreakers were absolute shit, to be honest. And it felt really bad to keep getting like top 32 prizing when you clearly had a record for top 16 over and over. So I was kind of like thinking about stopping or playing less events, and I nearly didn't want to go Liverpool. I actually nearly didn't want to go to the Utrecht Grand Open, even if I was staying at Utrecht. But you know, whenever I look at like all the communities that I'm involved in, whether it's the WhatsApp group chat or with the Nexus podcast or even the Discord, it was really nice. Like when I won the event and it was kind of like spread out, you know, all the messages were coming through from everywhere. You know, the boys' WhatsApp, everyone was really nice.
I was right there when you won. I just embraced you. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Everyone came over. It was such a moment. Even on the unofficial Discord, the Battlespace unofficial Discord, like all the Americans as well that found out. I would be here way too long, but like Dango, Zach, Ryan, you know, like all of them, Cosmic, Tada, everyone like just congratulating me, and it's really nice to know that like even across the ponds, and very brief encounters with people, it sticks in this game even to this moment. So just shout out to all of them lot. Shout out to my girlfriend who obviously convinced me to just go to Liverpool if I was about to pull out from going. And obviously shout out to R2. He was the one I tested with 10 games. That was enough to win. I guess if you just test 10 games with R2, you win a Grand Open, I guess is the current record. But yeah, the one person I want to give a big shout out to, actually, so so much shout out. So Josh, Kieran, Ben, Mike Croydon lot all coming over, like amazing testing partners. But I'm sorry if I forgot any person, but the one big shout I want to give is to Aaron. He's been like we traveled to New Jersey together pretty much, and he's just been a really good friend to me out of all of this and testing partner. Like I basically didn't test for the Pro Tour at all, and he kind of helped give me a list. And even just like not even from Battle Spirits, but like just as a general friend and stuff and being there, he left a very nice message on Twitter after I topped, kind of expressing his things, and honestly the absolute same to him as well. So that's pretty much all my shout outs. I'm sure I've missed some people, but you've not been missed deep down.
Well, there you go. So yeah, question time on the round, Harry. What's your question for us before we finish up?
Sure. I guess my question is so obviously we're coming to the end now, there's only Worlds left for a lot of people, or I guess if you're in the US, you've got another Grand Open and then possibly the PT.
Or your Emmy, and you have to get your Worlds qualification, which you will, Emmy. We'll make sure it happens.
And we'll support him all the way. But yeah, I think for a lot of people, now is kind of a period where people are taking a break. I needed to not think about the game really for a couple weeks after the PT. It was a very intense time, and yeah, I think you're getting some people even leaving the game or finding that it's not quite for them, having committed to it for a year. I guess what I wanted to ask was just how does everyone feel about the game right now? Obviously, we know that the game is in a strange spot in terms of we don't know what's going to happen next year, whether they'll cut funding or worst case even just cut things entirely. We had a bit of weirdness going into the Liverpool event as well, where they capped the tournament at 64 a couple days before. So I guess big takeaway from that is buy your tickets beforehand so that they're aware that we are actually interested in it. But I plan to continue with it next year unless there's any drastic changes. I enjoy the game fundamentally. It's my favorite TCG out of the ones that I've played, and that's really what keeps me in it. Obviously, the prize money is an important factor. We can't deny it. And hopefully that won't get gutted. But even if it did see a drop off, I think I would still play. Having said that, I think there are issues like Kieran brought up, that this is Battle Spirits Nexus, the game, and I think we're all, having played for several months now, we can sort of really hone in on our feelings in terms of the current state of the game, directions we'd like it to go in. But just in general, like, do we still feel good about things, and are we looking forward to what's coming up, or is it more a bit of burnout and need to take a step back and think on things?
Well, I'll be happy to start off. I mean, my results haven't been fantastic over the year, but don't get me wrong, I've cashed 3 times, I think, or 4 times, so I can't complain, and I've also got a Worlds invite, so I've done moderately okay. I feel like this, as fun as the game is, it is a very results-based game, so if you're not performing well, the enjoyment can kind of be hindered there. Fortunately, we've got a great community, and we, doing this podcast and stuff has helped soften the blow of, let's say, my results not being. Don't get me wrong, I don't have expectations to be, like, I don't think I'm good enough to be champion or whatever. It's just not having any amazing runs has been disappointing. But yeah, at the same time, I am a little burnt out from probably wanting it too much, trying too hard to get there. So I think my reality is that I just have to take a different approach to how I do things. We've got a few months till Worlds, so hopefully I can redeem my first year and get a really good spot. in the bigger tournaments, I tend to do better. So fingers crossed, I'll have a good time. But regardless, I've got no regrets of playing the game. You know, I've met all you guys, and like I say, I came into this game with Andre, not really knowing anyone else that plays the game. So it's been just, you know, great experience to meet people and, you know, meet and join a new community, so to speak. So yeah, overall, I'm still, I don't think I quit the game. I quite enjoy making content for it, and I quite enjoy playing it. Sadly, like at a local level, I wish it could, for me, the biggest problem is at a local level, I like getting out of my house, going and playing games in my locals. Like, that's something I just enjoy doing, is, you know, getting out of the house, really. I do it for Dragon Ball every week, but unfortunately in Manchester it's not so good. So I'd really love, from the 4th season, hopefully Bandai can figure out how to get heads through the door. You know, because it's happened for a lot of other card games. Obviously it's different with it being its own IP, but I mean, that's just my hope, is that I can get a local scene going in Manchester again, and that will definitely drum up more interest as like just sort of a pastime hobby, as opposed to just I need to go to these tournaments and win money kind of thing. But yeah, what about you, Kieran? Obviously you're off the back for a win high, so I'm sure you're in it for the long run at this point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously winning a Grand Open is insane. I was like I said, I had a bit of a rough period, kind of thinking, and like, it's not to sound ungrateful or anything. Like, getting top 32 is obviously really nice and it's cashing, but my expectations are just very high. I come from a very like a lot of other games, especially like in Buddy Fight, and other games where I just usually perform reasonably well. And we just struggled to get top. I mean, that was my first top 8 since launch event. Just the runs didn't really go well ever since. And obviously that one run, we channeled the same energy. We used the exact same playmat we used at launch event. We used the exact same deck box we used at launch event. We channeled the energy. So all I'm saying, that playmat, you might see it at Worlds. Again,
It's got that luck.
I don't believe in superstition, stuff like that, but like, I'm kind of starting
Now
to
you
believe
do.
it. I truly do. Regarding the game, like, it's a really fun game. I think there's no other game on the market I'd rather be playing right now, which is quite important. The market is very oversaturated.
Yeah.
The numbers aren't as problem for me. I come from Bushiroad, and honestly, the numbers there are quite similar to this game. I know that obviously there's a massive cash wad behind these events, and I think when you do get 60 players, 50 players, 40 players, like, that's when maybe the alarm bells are there. Like, you know, you're offering a 25k prize event.
Just on that subject real quick, I think Bandai just have to double down, put the money in again, and I think the more you know, like the amount of people that I spoke to over the weekend that were just like, I'm going to start playing Battle Spirits if the money continues, because it just seems like a good prospect, a good fun thing, and they saw us all enjoying ourselves. So I think if Bandai just double down, stick $1 million up for the next year, maybe if they really want to like make waves, double it, 2 million for the year, and double the prize money.
You
for
will
the
never
tournaments.
see a fun deck from me again.
Well, maybe even just pay more people, you know, as well. You know, like just try and get more people involved by using that marketing budget on the tournament kitty, because it is just so like I say, people are interested. I hope they don't just decide not to go ahead with it. I think they should just double down and you know, maybe take a loss for I mean, I was speaking to Daniel, and he believes that they might be just attempting to take a loss for a few years to offset some tax. So they'll do that, take the loss, build the game up using that, and then hopefully by year 5 they might start turning a profit. So let's hope so. And you know, I think if we as players keep promoting the game and keep pushing that we love it, you know, it can only help. So, but yeah, sorry to interrupt there. You can carry on. You probably lost your train of thought now.
No, it's fine. Like, I mean, normally in business, you're not going to be profitable year 1. It's very rare. Usually you do take a loss for the first few years. I would expect to see the similar prize money next year. Maybe the formatting of event structure can be changed a little bit. So maybe the whole current, because right now it's 6 Grand Opens into 1 Pro Tour, and then from the Pro Tour into Worlds. We can tell from how generous the Worlds invites pass down to that they just want to fill up a big room for Worlds and just get the numbers there. That's the intention, which is perfectly fine. It's meant to be. I mean, it's at the Bandai Festival, so it's meant to be a festival, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think as well. I have a lot of One Piece friends that would actually be very happy to play the game, but right now what's happening is Battle Spirits are being in the UK anyway. Battle Spirits is basically being scheduled with One Piece events at the exact same time.
Yeah, what they need to do is make the Battle Spirits events side events for the next day after One Piece, so all the One Piece players that drop out come and join us.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's probably what would happen. But yeah, like local scene wise, I mean, Play Nation boys, two of us got top 8. We're pretty good. The main issue we've had is actually that we have a good 6, 10, 8 people who can come down, but recently universities kind of got in the way of that, so we usually get 3 people very consistently for locals. We do have possibly a new 4th. Our local scene, by the way, Play Nation Games, shout out to them. They're very happy to run events, even if we just get 4 people. They have a ton of promos they're happy to give out weekly as well. So regarding the game, I enjoy it. It's probably the hardest card game I've ever played, honestly, in terms of like playing and deck building and how crucial one mistake can actually be. And I think what you said is correct, Josh. I think the enjoyment of the game is a bit results driven. And when this game is very, very competitive and your competitive results don't really reflect that, it does kind of affect your enjoyment to an extent.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you got to if you got to play with a smile on your face if you do actually enjoy the game, and that's what I did at the weekend. Like for example, it was the worst I've ever played in any tournament of any card game, but instead of dropping out, I was like, I will just carry on playing. I met some nice people. I met a few fans of the podcast that I played against as well, so I was in good spirits as well. I was just trying to be nice, trying to make sure my opponent was enjoying their time, knowing that they're in a similar level of run to me. Because at that point, the last thing you want is someone that's moody, being across the table from you. You gotta enjoy yourselves in these moments. So, but yeah, what about you, Harry? What's your final thoughts on your own question before we leave?
Well, yeah, I guess to touch on the points both of you made. I think the best things about Battle Spirits can sometimes be the worst things about it. As Kieran said, it's a very difficult game, and it's very much like a TCG is TCG, which doesn't make it the most casually accessible. I think there's so much meta element to it. Even just the existence of Ice Shield as a game rule, for example, it isn't very accessible to someone who's not really familiar with TCGs compared to something like Lorcana, which you can just show your girlfriend and she'll pick up immediately, or more casual games like the Rick and Morty card game or something. Anyone can kind of pick that up and learn it, whereas Battle Spirits is very developed in that respect, and it can be a double-edged sword. Every deck has a hard matchup, a matchup where you're basically always going to lose. That makes the element of building a deck a difficult challenge, because you're always going to have to try to guess the room, and a lot of the competitive element is judging the room correctly, but it is very hit and miss in that respect. And when you're investing a lot of money in order to travel and go to these things, if the results don't go your way, it can be quite draining. I completely relate to the X2 curse, as it were. I think I've almost always gone X2. The launch event, I was X11, but you were allowed to have draws back then. I think I've had one X4, went X3 at the last one, an XO at Glasgow, and then maybe another X1 somewhere. But aside from that, yeah, you're pretty much religiously X2, just chilling with the bubble boys. There have been times where I've finished 9th. There have been times where I've squeezed into top 8. Times where I've squeezed out a top 16. It really is just quite I can completely see how people get fatigue from that over time. So it's a difficult one in that respect, but I think again these are aspects that I like about the game, and I do really enjoy the game overall. I think in terms of balance, there's definitely things that ought to be addressed over time. But compared to just any other TCG I've played, like a year into most TCGs, it's, you know, the house is on fire, like everything's burning, and you're just like, oh, I'm in tier 0 town already, like I'm done. Whereas Battle Spirits has shown a good degree of restraint. I think its only challenge going forward is going to be to entice new people into the game, because it seems to have captured its target demographic. Like, the majority of people that play Battle Spirits seem to be people who played TCGs 10 years ago or so, quit because everyone's toxic in most TCGs, and now just want like a nice, happy late 20s, early 30s sort of good time with their card game.
Speak for yourself. I'm late 30s me, but yeah.
But yeah, how are we gonna get people into it? I don't know. And yeah, we will have to see where we stand next year again. Like, we already know a few people moving into other things. The point you made about the Bandai games as well, I think is very pertinent, because like I'm considering picking up like a second game next year or something. And like I've friends who are moving into One Piece, but I think for them it's like, which Bandai game do I main type of thing, because the events are always so simultaneous. And
well, there is Dragon Ball coming out, Dragon Ball Fusion Worlds relaunch, which is basically One Piece with a Dragon Ball skin. So, you know, maybe that could be an option.
I mean, yeah, I'm still like, Battle Spirits would still be my main game in that respect. It's just like, am I going to look at Dragon Ball Fusion or One Piece when you know, 80% of the time the events will conflict and I'll have to choose one? I'll probably look to something, you know, from a different franchise, like the new Star Wars game coming out, or
I mean, that game looks so fun
or something. Yeah.
Just don't play Lorcana. Don't play the
Disney.
Don't play the Disney game, guys. Don't play the Disney game. The mouse has.
I did my dissertation on Star Wars, bro. I've got a rep. Like, if every sand card, I'm gonna have a sand themed deck.
Dude, I mean,
so it'll be coarse and rough and irritating.
The game, the demo decks they made were complex as well. You know, like, just to put out a little bit, that, you know, Luke Skywalker on swing gives a shield token to one of your cards, and the cards have an effect called Sentinel, which means they have to die before any damage can be done to anyone else or the base. So you just got Luke Skywalker putting a shield on a big body that has to die. The shield basically absorbs all damage taken. So Andre was playing Luke Skywalker against me, and he was just like, "Yep, put a shield token on this guy that you have to kill." So you're basically 2-for-1ing immediately. I was like, this is not fair, and I pretty much just rolled over as Vader. Although I did kill, we had a duel between Luke and Vader, and I did take the W there as Vader. The cards are from the arts from Empire, from when they fight, and then just before the classic "I'm Your Father" scene. So. But yeah, no, it was a great weekend, guys, and it was great to see you guys, obviously, and hang out. It's going to be a while before the next one, so that's sad. But it will be in LA, and it's going to be epic. So really excited for that. And next week we'll have Emmy back as well. But yeah, like I said, guys, please get your friends to come and give us a follow, and we'll get to 100.
Down below.
And then, hopefully soon we'll be able to do like some streaming. Maybe we'll be able to cast some events that are the other side of the world that we can't play in. You know, maybe we can try and get involved with that kind of thing. So, but yeah, thanks everyone for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. We will be back next week for episode 9, and then the finale, episode 10 of the Nexus podcast. We'll probably do something fun for it, I guess. Before we have a little break for sort of Christmas time and to recharge, and then we'll come back with season 2 with a fully revamped podcast sort of scene, I guess to call it. We will probably do some other content in between, but yeah, thanks again, guys, for all the support, and yeah, we just come and say hi at the events, guys. We love to chat, and we love to talk about the game. So, any final thoughts, guys? Congratulations again, Kieran, taking that crown, giving us
big. Congrats.
giving us
Yeah,
that
I'll be
credibility.
definitely using the mat wherever possible. So
except
watch out for that.
except at Worlds when you use your lucky mat.
Yeah, I think I have to use the lucky mat for Worlds. So
Even though
this
you're
one
not
maybe gets
superstitious.
shelved in the meantime.
You just wear it as like a little cape.
Yeah, just like
Maybe.
wear it
or a bib. Yeah, a bib. Yeah, eat food
yeah, like a
with
bib. Yeah.
it. We have Taco Club in LA with the bib.
Yeah. Shout out to Taco Club, of course. Taco Club's doing very well. Back to back wins pretty much recently. So
Oof.
let's keep it up.
Power of the taco. All right, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.